You know, the Vietnam stuff was powerful in mobilizing the campus.
Yeah, the Vietnam protests were the thing that began to take over my life, and how we were being involved in the shaping of the response of the university to various events.
I remember that the candlelight vigil that we helped organize and design to honor the 4 Kent State students who had been killed was just extraordinarily moving.
There was a decision that we were going to have 4 coffins to represent the 4 students. Where did those coffins come from? I have no idea. But somehow they came. We walked down by the Arboretum and then turned and went toward Franklin Street.
All the way to Chapel of the Cross, yes. But it was a moving line of candles that just went on and on and on.
And then came all the way back to the old well. By the time the first people had left the old well and come back, there were still people who had not left yet. I remember approaching it almost as a ritual, a non-articulated memory, almost like a spiritual memory of trying to shape this in such a way that would be positive and would be respectful, and that would keep the focus on the students and on our shop, and on the fact that we were students, and these were students killed for doing what we do all the time, which is protesting and speaking our minds. A ritual takes you somewhere. It doesn't necessarily define what it's going to be. Ritual balances people out so that they can get up the next day and do something.
Dear everyone, surprise, a letter. I figured enough things had been happening to merit a bit more than a collect call. Our trip to Washington was quite an experience. I had stayed up all Monday night, printing fact sheets and such for the 380 who went on buses. They were all filled, and about 300 more went up by car. We had quite a crowd. All 700 or so of us somehow squeezed into the hearing room, which was only supposed to hold 150. People in the aisles, in the representative seats. We were told that's the first time such a large group had ever come from inside the lobby. There was a sense of really most of the whole campus being of largely one voice.
And it was all focused on shaping that frustration and anger into something that would be useful.
We weren't there to storm ramparts. We were there to insist that people understand where we were coming from.
When U.S. Senator Everett Jordan was interviewed in the New York Times, he gave the credit to the delegation from the University of North Carolina for changing his vote. It was something that many people involved in activism don't get. It was tangible results. But the real reward is the sense of community and the commitment to working out issues of ethics and morals and justice together.
My mother has a saying which comes from milk families down in North Carolina. You can't see the pattern while the shuttle flies. While we were so active in all of these things, we couldn't see what it was that we were weaving, what the basis was that really moved people forward. Also, I guess we couldn't see the errors that we were making, the things that we weren't seeing. And we can still only see some of those things, but it feels really good to reflect and see that a lot of what we did was to build a basis for what came after and what will continue.
I think that many of the students, as I reflect on them now, were terribly naive, but I think they made a great contribution to keeping freedom alive. I have a friend who contends that the only way that freedom can stay alive is if we continually win a new freedom by bearing witness to it every day. And even though there were still excesses and there was just incredible naivete, I have a deep appreciation for the contributions that the students made.